Buried deep within the SCP Foundation's hyper-secure intranet archives is something so horrifying the O5 Council live in a constant fear of the hopefully forever hypothetical scenario in which they're informed of its containment breaking. The Council have bore witness to some of the most mind-bending horrors and terrifying entities even the deepest of nightmares couldn't create, and yet all pale in comparison to this. SCP-2317. The first identification of SCP-2317 was in the form of a wooden door and door frame that was originally constructed as a basement door for a 19th century Massachusetts brownstone townhouse. It was discovered by an unknown individual in 1922 and is currently stored in Containment Area 179. Through the door is a Keter-class entity, if it can even be called that, and thus is almost impossible to actually contain, even with the most extensive and complex containment protocols. Truth be told, we can't truly contain this thing because we have no idea what it is or how it works. I mean, it breaks all agreed upon laws of physics, space, and matter that we've become so accustomed to, because through this door is an entirely different reality, and contained within that reality are horrors beyond our comprehension. Upon stepping through this door, you find yourself on a salt pan spanning several kilometers in radius. Whether this salt pan extends further or if any other biome exists beyond it is currently unknown thanks to the Foundation's extremely limited exploration of this reality. On the salt pan, 10 meters in front of the door, are 7 marble pillars arranged in a circle 10 meters in diameter. These pillars, labelled SCP-2317-A through G, are 1 by 7 meters in size and appear to be adorned with engravings, a series of intricate, almost sacred-looking bas-reliefs in an art style that doesn't correspond with any known modern, historic, or even prehistoric civilization that we know of. Upon further investigation, via seismic analysis, it seems as though the marble pillars in fact extend 200 meters below the surface of the salt pan and into what is classified as SCP-2317-H, a spherical space which is 100 kilometers in diameter that connects to each pillar, and is also crafted from the same marble stone that was used to build them. And contained within this almost chamber is SCP-2317-K, the entity. A gigantic human-like creature estimated to tower over 200 kilometers tall when stood up, with horns resembling tree branches sprouting from its head. It appears to lack a lower jaw, and its body is covered in millions of overlapping plate-like scales, but embedded within the entity's back are 7 extremely heavy hooks, each one attached to an equally heavy chain made of some sort of foreign substance that we don't know, with each chain connected to the lower end of one of the 7 marble pillars. However, the Foundation currently faces a major problem. As of the filing of this report, of these 7 support structures that were keeping the entity in place, 6 of the chains have broken, and only 1 remains intact. And so, we'd better talk about how we're trying to actually contain this thing. We're currently carrying out operations, so to speak, within SCP-2317. I mean, if we don't at least try and keep it contained, then nothing else that we do here at the Foundation will matter. SCP-2317, the door and its frame, are currently stored in a reinforced 3-meter cubed containment chamber, with armed guards in place at all times to ensure nobody gains unauthorized access. All personnel assigned to 2317 are rotated out for a month of psychological counseling after 2 months on site, and must undergo heavy psychological testing before being cleared to enter the site. To have anything to do with SCP-2317 investigation and containment, an individual must score at least 72 points on the Milgram obedience examination, be unmarried, have no offspring, and express nothing but total unwavering loyalty to the Foundation. On site, all individuals assigned to SCP-2317 are issued concealing helmets with integrated voice changers to protect their identity, and no on-site staff may remove these uniforms in the presence of other staff members at any time. All off-duty hours are to be spent alone in private quarters. Identities must remain obscured. And this brings us to the ritual. Through investigation of ancient texts that were retrieved when SCP-2317 was initially contained, researchers have discovered that the engraved marble pillars are used in some sort of sacrificial ritual at the solar noon of each day, when the sun reaches its apex above SCP-2317. This ritual is used to contain and pacify the entity until its chains can be repaired and reattached. The ritual itself has been given the codename Procedure 220 Calabasas and has gone through a number of iterations. Initially, a Class D individual, who was likely a death row inmate that was forcibly recruited by the Foundation, was assigned to SCP-2317 each month to carry out the Calabasas ritual. It was initially imperative that the Class D was a convicted murderer. A Foundation staff member with level 3 clearance was also assigned to the ritual to monitor it and the Class D at all times, and following the ritual, the Class D would be returned to their holding cell. Any attempt they made to escape, either in our reality or out into the salt pans of 2317, would be met with the triggering of their explosive collar. However, Procedure 220 Calabasas was later revised, swapping the Class D individual out for a staff member with level 4 clearance. This level 4 individual would take the role of the Class D in more ways than one. All personnel below level 3 security clearance are still told that this individual is a Class D, but everyone involved with the ritual is informed that they are in fact a level 4 clearance staff member, and thus should not be terminated in the event that they disobey orders or act awry. So, the ritual. To be conducted, it requires 2 armed security personnel with level 3 security clearance or higher, referred to as the guards, 1 Foundation personnel with level 4 clearance or higher, referred to as the celebrant, and 1 genuine Class D personnel, referred to as the assistant. It then also needs a live chicken, an obsidian knife, a silver aspergillum and aspersorium, both filled with 500 cc's of holy water that has been blessed by a priest of Abrahamic faith, and a 1 kiloton nuclear device, the last resort. All involved with the ritual move through the wooden door into the realm of SCP-2317 and make their way to the pillars. The assistant enters the ritual site first, followed by the celebrant, followed by the guards, who ensure the site is locked down at all times, maintaining situational awareness and being prepared to cover a retreat through the door if the worst comes to worse. The celebrant begins the ritual by walking around the pillars counterclockwise, scattering the holy water from the aspergillum and aspersorium toward the center of the ritual site with every other step. Upon completing 1 circuit of the site, the celebrant scatters holy water over the head of the assistant while reciting the following phrase: 7 seals, 7 rings, 7 thrones for the Scarlet King. The celebrant then moves away from the assistant, who takes the obsidian knife and uses it to sacrifice the chicken. The chicken's blood is then drained and mixed with the holy water, and that mixture is then scattered by the assistant in the same fashion as it was by the celebrant, except the assistant has to walk clockwise around the ritual site. After 1 circuit of the pillars, the assistant walks to the center of the ritual site and pours the remaining mixture onto a discolored patch of salt and sand in the center, while reciting the phrase, "Blood for the old gods, water for the new king." All materials are then gathered up and personnel return through the door to the containment site, and the door is closed. Based on current understanding, failure to correctly perform Procedure 220 Calabasas may result in an XK-class end-of-world scenario, defined loosely as a religious apocalypse in which our reality would be utterly decimated. Should anything go wrong with the ritual, the SCP-2317 realm, or, God forbid, the entity, all personnel are to immediately return through the door, closing it behind them. The containment chamber will immediately be locked down, and a Level 2 emergency declared and reported to the O5 Council. Further instructions will be provided to on-site personnel according to Emergency Order Zachariah, and may result in the detonation of an on-site nuclear warhead. As of now, these measures are purely hypothetical, and we hope for them to remain that way forevermore. When the entity was initially discovered, 3 of its chains were still intact. However, when studying the 2 that broke over the following years, our correlation analysis has yielded some terrifying revelations. It appears as though the breaking of a chain correlates with extreme disaster or loss of life in our reality. The breaking of the 5th chain in correlated directly to in our world, and the breaking of the 6th chain in also seemed to coincide with a much more severe event which resulted in the death of 2 million people. The records show that each successive event that occurs in our world when a chain is broken drastically increases in lethality, and thus we can only predict that should that final chain break and this entity be freed, it would result in an XK-class end-of-world scenario. As of now, this is all the Foundation can share about SCP-2317. Its containment is ongoing, as is research in how to better understand its realm, the entity, and how to ensure all of this remains under our control. And with that said, it's time for me to sign off. SCP-2317 is a primeval entity, known as the Devourer of Worlds. As an individual with O5 Council clearance, I can access the deepest of the Foundation's archives, the information that we keep hidden from even those with the highest of regular clearance, and it is with that clearance that I am able to access the scriptures of the Ericasians, an ancient civilization from the antediluvian era who are now extinct, but inhabited our world between the biblical fall of man and the Great Floods. The Ericasians are one of the Foundation's most tightly kept secrets. They were an ancient civilization of mystics that warred with gods and their followers, including the entity, the Scarlet King. According to their codex that was discovered at the same time as SCP-2317, the Ericasians were the ones who initially captured and somehow imprisoned the Scarlet King in 1894 BCE. An excerpt from their codex goes as follows. And then Keshbeth led his army of 10,000 into the realm beyond the clouds, and there did they do battle with the Devourer. May his name remain forever unremembered. And then Keshbeth and his 10,000 did craft 7 cunning chains out of the bones of Jaspatar, 7th bride of the dread Devourer. May his name remain forever unremembered, and bound him to within the pearl of the father of oysters, he who dwells under the mirror of salt in the real under the sea. And Keshbeth ordered that the gates to the far country be sealed forever, lest the dread Devourer, may his name remain forever unremembered, find its way back to our world. In the 19th century, the Society of the Golden Arrow, which was an occult society led by Russian occultist and mystic Maria de Naglowska, were the first since the Ericasians to discover how to enter the realm of 2317, but we don't know how, nor do we know their motivations for doing so. When this society dissolved and the founder of the SCP Foundation took possession of the door used to enter the realm, the first 4 chains had already fallen into disrepair, and the Foundation bankrupted itself several times, desperately trying to repair them. The Foundation's most elite researchers are attached to SCP-2317, and work is ongoing to reconstruct those chains, but it seems as though our efforts are fleeting. Researchers believe final containment failure is certain to occur within the next century, as soon as in the next 30 years. Because the chains were built from the bones and sinew of another of the Devourer species, all of whom appear to be extinct, all attempts to repair, replace, or even rediscover the methods of creating these chains have proven fruitless. We are currently researching some sort of alternate containment plan, but it's highly unlikely that anything besides more of the same chains will be able to keep the Devourer from entering our reality. Until the inevitable occurs, our main threat is internal despair or panic within the Foundation. If word spreads of what we are failing to contain, well, that 30-year deadline starts knocking on tomorrow's door. So, in order to stem despair and panic and maintain morale, we've devised and implemented a false containment procedure, named Procedure 220 Calabasas, in order to give the Foundation staff the false illusion that we have this thing under control when we most certainly do not. Calabasas has been intentionally designed to incorporate familiar elements of ritualistic magic, religion, mysticism, the occult, Foundation containment procedures, and to also appeal to almost the common institutional meme regarding the effectiveness of thermonuclear weapons in destroying paranormal entities. In reality, this nuke would likely be less than a scratch to the Devourer. Calabasas was designed to be a believable countermeasure to ease the anxiety among staff, whilst we, at the top, frantically search for any kind of solution to the terrifying inevitability that we appear to be facing. Preparations are already underway to ensure the survival of the human race should that final chain break and an XK-class scenario begin, but given how the mere existence of 2317 breaks every rule that humanity has set in place, tested, and agreed upon over the last 1,000 or so years, I don't exactly have confidence in the success of these contingency measures. Regardless, these measures were approved by the unanimous vote of the Overseer Council on So, that is the horror of SCP-2317, the Devourer of Worlds. I really hope you guys enjoyed the first of many new SCP videos to come. My editor, Lil Thomas, did a fantastic job nailing the atmosphere of this, so expect more to come. If you did enjoy it, then please make sure you show some support down below with the likes and the comments, and of course, if you're new around here, subscribing. This is going to be a staple of the channel moving forward, along with tons of other lore from Halo, from Marathon, and coming soon, Warhammer 40k, which should be pretty fun. I'm looking forward to diving into that. So yeah, make sure you show some support down below. And with that said, let's round this video out here. I want to give a massive thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there, as per usual. And thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all in the next one.